Welcome back to Digital Dossier, the podcast that digs deep into the digital trails left behind in real-life mysteries. I'm your host, Tom. Today, we're diving into a case that sent shockwaves through Ottawa back in 1995. The disappearance of Louise Ellis. Imagine this. A seemingly happy couple, Brett Morgan and Louise Ellis, living in Ottawa, Canada. He, a man trying to rebuild his life after serving time, and she, a successful writer and advocate for justice. On the surface, their love story seemed like a testament to second chances. But as we'll uncover, beneath that surface lurked a darkness that would shatter their world. On a late April evening, Brett Morgan walked into the Ottawa police station, claiming his partner, 46-year-old Louise, was missing. Louise, a vibrant freelance writer known for her passion for justice, had seemingly vanished into thin air. Her car, a yellow and white Suzuki Sidekick, was found abandoned near her ex-boyfriend John Manweave's cottage. Here's where it gets interesting. The doors were locked and her belongings were untouched. It was as if she had stepped out of the car and simply disappeared. This unsettling detail immediately cast suspicion on Brett Morgan. You see, Brett had a past he couldn't outrun, a manslaughter conviction. 17 years prior, Brett's life had been a dangerous cocktail of drugs, alcohol, and petty crime. During a heated argument fueled by intoxication, he strangled a 21-year-old woman named Gwen Tieford, who was involved in his criminal activities. He was convicted of manslaughter, which means the killing wasn't premeditated, and sentenced to 10 years. But even after his release, Brett's troubles continued. He found himself back behind bars for a string of offenses: fraud, theft, forgery, and even escaping custody. This painted a clear picture of a man with a history of violence and deceit. So how did this man with a troubled past end up with someone like Louise, a strong, independent woman dedicated to fighting for justice? Well, when he met Louise, Brett presented himself as a reformed man, eager for redemption. Louise, drawn to his supposed vulnerability and honesty, believed in his potential for change. She fell deeply in love, completely unaware of the monster hiding beneath the surface. Their relationship started as a whirlwind romance. Louise was particularly touched by Brett's claim of bravely testifying against a former cellmate who had committed murder. She saw a glimmer of good in him, a potential for a brighter future. But behind closed doors, the idyllic facade began to crumble. Brett's true nature resurfaced, and the cycle of abuse that had plagued his past relationships reared its ugly head once again. He isolated Louise from her loved ones, slowly draining her finances and subjecting her to both physical and emotional abuse. Trapped in a web of manipulation and fear, Louise desperately sought ways to salvage the relationship. She documented her pain, her fleeting moments of happiness, and her struggles in her diary, a heartbreaking, silent testament to the turmoil she endured. Louise's diary entries paint a vivid picture of a woman torn between hope and despair. She desperately wanted to believe in Brett's redemption, clinging to the belief that he could change. But the reality of her situation was becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. The mounting tension over Brett's unpaid debt and whispers of Louise planning to leave him painted a grim picture. The situation was a powder keg waiting to explode. Then came the day Louise disappeared. The discovery of her abandoned car near her ex-boyfriend John's cottage deepened the mystery. Police, initially skeptical of foul play, turned their attention to John due to the car's location. It seems like a straightforward explanation, but something didn't quite add up. Meanwhile, Brett was playing the part of the grieving partner, skillfully deflecting suspicion and portraying himself as a man desperate to find his missing love. But as detectives dug deeper, cracks began to appear in his carefully constructed facade. Enter Marie Parant, an aspiring private investigator touched by Brett's public pleas for help. Driven by a desire to help women and gain experience, Marie offered her services for free, embarking on her own investigation into Louise's disappearance. This decision would have unexpected and dangerous consequences, leading her down a path that would intertwine her fate with Brett's dark secret. So as Marie starts digging into this case, she starts noticing some things, some inconsistencies in Brett's story. His controlling behavior also raised some red flags for her. This wasn't the behavior of a worried partner, but rather someone trying to control the narrative. So Marie's suspicions, they grow, and she makes a pretty risky decision to collaborate with the police. She becomes a double agent in a high-stakes operation to try and expose the truth. So now, working undercover, Marie has to tread very carefully right. She pretends to be on Brett's side, all the while feeding information to the police, navigating this treacherous world of deceit and manipulation. Imagine the courage it took for her to not only suspect the man she was supposed to be helping, but also to agree to go undercover and play this dangerous game of deception with a convicted killer. The tension was palpable as she accompanied Brett on searches for Louise's body. She was witnessing his calculated attempts to mislead and control the investigation. Each passing day brought Marie closer to the truth, but it also put her in greater danger. And then the case took a chilling turn. Brett, in a move that seemed almost too convenient, he led Marie directly to Louise's remains. He feigned shock and grief, but the police weren't buying it. They had been building a case against Brett, and this discovery, orchestrated by Brett himself, provided them with crucial evidence. So the missing shower curtain from Louise's home, coupled with Brett's history of strangulation, this painted a very grim picture. Police theorized that Brett, desperate to silence Louise and maintain control over her finances, had attacked her in the shower, using the shower curtain to subdue and ultimately kill her. As a horrifying echo of his past crimes, just a chilly reminder that some patterns of violence are very difficult to break. So the discovery of Louise's remains led to Brett's arrest, and he was formally charged with first-degree murder, meaning this killing was planned and deliberate. Now desperate to escape accountability, Brett attempts to shift blame onto John, Louise's ex-boyfriend, weaving this tangled web of lies in a desperate attempt to escape justice. However, the evidence against Brett was overwhelming. Witness testimonies, financial records, and the chilling parallels to his previous crimes formed a very compelling case for the prosecution. They presented a clear and concise narrative, meticulously laying out the evidence and dismantling Brett's attempts to deflect blame. So the trial, it was a long and arduous process, lasting for 6 months and featuring over 90 witnesses. The courtroom became a battleground for truth, with the prosecution meticulously presenting its case, and the defense fighting tooth and nail to cast doubt on Brett's guilt. Despite their efforts, the jury's verdict was clear: guilty. It was a bittersweet victory for sure. A sense of justice for Louise's family and friends, but of course tainted by the tragic loss of a life cut short. The verdict served as a testament to the power of truth and the resilience of the justice system, even in the face of such a cunning and manipulative perpetrator. But Brett, however, he wouldn't face the full consequences of his actions. Just 2 months into his 25-year sentence without the possibility of parole, he died in prison due to complications from hepatitis C. His death, while bringing a sense of closure, it also robbed Louise's loved ones of the opportunity to see him fully answer for his crimes. In the wake of the trial, Louise's family and friends were left grappling with the profound loss of a woman who had touched so many lives. They remembered her as a passionate, artistic, and intellectual woman, a loving daughter, sister, and friend whose absence left an unfillable void. They shared stories of her warmth, her humor, her unwavering dedication to justice, and her infectious zest for life. It was clear that Louise had left an indelible mark on everyone who knew her. You know Louise's story. It's a chilling reminder of the devastating impact of domestic violence. It highlights the insidious nature of abuse, how it can hide behind a facade of normalcy and trap victims in a cycle of fear and manipulation. Brett, with his history of violence and deceit, he was a master manipulator. He skillfully concealed his true nature, using charm and feigned vulnerability to gain Louise's trust. He isolated her from her support system, making her more vulnerable to his abuse. Louise, like many victims of domestic violence, she found herself caught in a web of fear, shame, and self-blame. She desperately wanted to believe in Brett's redemption, clinging to the hope that he could change. Her diary entries reveal the emotional turmoil she endured, the conflicting emotions of love, fear, and despair. It's important to remember that domestic violence can happen to anyone, regardless of their age, social status, or intelligence. Louise, a successful writer and advocate for justice, she found herself caught in a cycle of abuse that she struggled to break free from. Her story underscores the importance of recognizing the warning signs of domestic violence and seeking help. Abuse can take many forms, including physical, emotional, financial, and sexual. It's crucial to remember that no one deserves to be abused, and there is help available. The case of Louise Ellis is a tragic but essential one. It underscores the need for greater awareness of domestic violence, the importance of supporting victims, and the crucial role that law enforcement and the justice system play in holding perpetrators accountable. It's a story that demands our attention, our empathy, and our commitment to creating a world where such tragedies are no longer a reality. Louise's case, it also shines a light on the unsung heroes in these dark tales, right? The investigators who tirelessly work to piece together, fragmented lives, the prosecutors who fight for justice in the courtroom, and then everyday individuals like Marie Parant who step up when others might hesitate. It was Marie's decision to trust her gut feeling and just reach out to Brett, offering her services for free. That proves to be so pivotal in this case. And imagine the courage it took for her to not only suspect the man she was supposed to be helping, but to also agree to go undercover right, to play this very dangerous game of deception with a convicted killer. Her dedication, her willingness to put herself at risk to uncover the truth. It's a testament to the human spirit's capacity for bravery and compassion, In a world where it's so easy to turn away from darkness, Marie, she chose to face it head-on. And the image of Brett leading Marie to Louise's remains, feigning shock and grief, it's chilling. It speaks volumes about his cold, calculating nature, his ability to compartmentalize and manipulate. Even in his final moments, facing a life sentence for a crime he vehemently denied, there was no remorse, no admission of guilt, just a cold, detached denial. Brett Morgan, a man shaped by a lifetime of violence and deceit, he ultimately died as he lived, master manipulator, pulling strings even from beyond the grave. But amidst all this darkness, there's a glimmer of hope here. The successful prosecution of Brett Morgan, the unwavering support of Louise's loved ones, and the incredible courage of Marie Parant. All these things remind us that even in the face of unspeakable tragedy, there is strength in unity. There's resilience in the human spirit, and this relentless pursuit of justice. Louise Ellis may be gone, but her story serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of recognizing and addressing domestic violence. Her legacy lives on in the hearts of those who loved her, in the fight for a world free from abuse, and in the unwavering commitment to ensuring that victims' voices are heard and that justice prevails. This is Tom, signing off. May Louise's memory be a beacon of hope, a reminder that darkness can never truly extinguish the light.